Welcome to Trandy Wisdom, where every story reveals a deeper truth. In this episode, we invite you on a sacred journey through Thailand's most breathtaking temples, 5 extraordinary places where Vesak, the holiest day in Buddhism, comes alive in light, silence, and timeless devotion. A sacred light over Thailand as the scorching heat of the Thai summer begins to wane and the rains gently return to kiss the earth. Something extraordinary stirs across the golden temples and quiet alleyways of Thailand, from the bustling streets of Bangkok to the mist-veiled hills of Chiang Mai. An air of reverence settles like a soft mist. It is Vesak, a day that transcends the ordinary, a sacred festival that celebrates the birth, enlightenment, and passing of the Buddha. In the days leading up to Vesak, temples across the country transform into sanctuaries of light and reflection. Monks in saffron robes sweep temple grounds at dawn, preparing for the arrival of pilgrims. Devotees begin to gather flowers, fold lotus petals with care, and prepare offerings not of material wealth, but of presence, of intention. At night, the city glows not with neon signs, but with the gentle flicker of candlelight. Oil lamps line temple paths. Incense smoke curls skyward like whispered prayers. There is no revelry, no fanfare, only stillness, a sacred hush that descends with the evening air. But to truly understand Vesak in Thailand, one must go beyond the rituals. One must enter the temples, not merely as a tourist, but as a seeker. These temples are not just structures of ornate wood and gleaming gold leaf. They are living vessels of devotion, repositories of stories carved in stone, painted in mural, sung in chant. In them, generations have sought answers to questions as old as time. What does it mean to suffer? What does it mean to be free? And how do we walk the middle path in a world of extremes? This is not merely a journey through 5 remarkable temples. It is a journey into the soul of Thailand itself. Each temple tells its own story, shaped by history, geography, and the unwavering faith of its people. Some rise above the clouds, others hug the banks of rivers, some dazzle with modern architecture, others speak in the quiet language of centuries past. As we embark on this journey to discover the 5 most beautiful temples, to experience Vesak in Thailand, we are not simply traveling across a map. We are moving through layers of meaning, through spaces where silence speaks, and where light is not only seen, but felt. 1. Wat Phra Kaew. The modern pilgrimage. On the outskirts of Bangkok, beyond the glass towers and electric pulse of the capital, the landscape begins to soften. Concrete gives way to rice paddies, and the air takes on a hush that feels almost deliberate. Here in Pathum Thani, rising from the flat earth like a vision from the future, stands Wat Phra Kaew, a temple unlike any other in Thailand. At first glance, it is arresting, a massive, domed structure with sweeping concentric platforms, crowned by a golden hemisphere that gleams with mathematical precision. To the unacquainted eye, it might appear as a spaceship or a monument to geometry, but step closer and you realize it is a temple born of the 21st century, built on ancient aspirations. Wat Phra Kaew is the spiritual center of a modern Buddhist movement that has evolved over the past few decades, redefined how faith is expressed in contemporary Thailand. Its architecture reflects this evolution. Unlike the tiered roofs and naga-lined balustrades of traditional Thai temples, Dhammakaya is minimalistic and colossal, evoking a sense of cosmic order. The central stupa, called the Dhammakaya Setia, is perhaps the most iconic feature, shaped like a half-sphere. Its surface is embedded with over 1 million tiny Buddha statues, each donated by a devotee. From a distance, they blend into a singular sheen of gold. Up close, they are a forest of enlightenment, each one a reflection of personal faith made permanent. During Vesak, the temple becomes the focal point for hundreds of thousands of practitioners, both Thai and international, who gather not for spectacle, but for stillness. The ritual begins before sunrise. As the first light appears over the horizon, crowds in pristine white begin to arrive, walking barefooted across the vast marble grounds. There is no clamor, no chaos. The space absorbs the presence of people, like the sky absorbs stars. Chanting begins, soft at first, then rising into a resonant hum that seems to vibrate in the very air. The chants are not directed at any deity, but inward, echoing the teachings of the Buddha: mindfulness, compassion, clarity. By mid-morning, the field before the stupa is a sea of white-robed meditators. They sit cross-legged in symmetrical lines, facing the golden dome, their eyes closed, faces serene. From above, the gathering appears as a mandala, orderly, balanced, pulsing with quiet energy. It is not just an act of faith, it is an act of collective intention. For many, Vesak at Dhammakaya is not a festival, but a pilgrimage, a return not to a place, but to a state of being. This modern pilgrimage is not without its critics. Some traditionalists view Wat Phra Kaew with skepticism, questioning its funding, its scale, and its unorthodox style. Yet to dismiss it purely on aesthetic or institutional grounds is to overlook its profound appeal to a new generation of spiritual seekers in a time of fragmentation, distraction, and noise. Dhammakaya offers something radical: stillness at scale. It invites people not to observe, but to participate, not to consume a ritual, but to embody one. Technology, too, plays a role here. The temple broadcasts its teachings online in multiple languages, hosts global meditation sessions via live stream, and uses LED lighting and digital artistry to enhance ceremonial experience. But the core message remains ancient: inner peace as the Buddha collective harmony. This is Vesak through a different lens, not adorned in incense smoke and lotus ponds, but no less sacred as dusk descends and the sun casts long shadows across the plaza. The temple transforms once again. Thousands of lanterns are lit, their flames flickering in silent rhythm. The dome, now bathed in golden twilight, reflects a spectrum of light across the white garments of its disciples. The chants rise once more, deeper, steadier, wrapping the temple in a sonic embrace. It is a scene at once futuristic and primal, echoing something old and universal: the human yearning for transcendence, for peace, for light in the darkness. Wat Phra Kaew may not fit the conventional image of a Buddhist temple, but during Vesak, it becomes something beyond convention. It becomes a mirror, not only reflecting the golden Buddha statues on its dome, but reflecting us as we are, and as we might yet become. In this vast arena of silence and symmetry, Vesak is not just remembered, it is lived, breathed, and magnified into something timeless. 2. Wat Phra, where silence speaks through history. In the heart of old Bangkok, just steps away from the Grand Palace and the slow-moving Chao Phraya River, a sanctuary of stillness waits behind ancient walls. Wat Phra, one of Thailand's oldest and most revered temples, is not merely a place of worship. It is a living archive of spiritual, cultural, and intellectual memory. As the sun rises over the city's skyline, casting soft golden hues over its spired rooftops, the temple begins to stir with quiet purpose. The scent of incense mingles with the morning air. Monks in saffron robes move silently through arcades, and tourists speak in hushed tones as if instinctively aware they are stepping into sacred ground. Wat Phra is best known for its colossal reclining Buddha, a serene figure stretching 46 meters in length, covered in gold leaf and resting peacefully within the ordination hall. His expression is calm, eternal, eyes half-lidded in a gaze that suggests awakening rather than sleep. The soles of his feet are inlaid with mother-of-pearl, each panel depicting symbolic images of the cosmos, trees of life, mythical creatures, and sacred diagrams. This statue, though a marvel of artistic and devotional achievement, is only the beginning of what Wat Phra reveals to the patient observer. Long before it became a tourist favorite, Wat Phra served as Thailand's first public university. In its courtyards and cloisters, stone tablets bear inscriptions on medicine, yoga, astrology, and the teachings of the Buddha. The temple is home to the traditional Thai massage school, where students still train under ancient diagrams etched onto temple walls, learning how to bring balance and healing through the body's pressure points. Even today, Wat Phra remains a place of learning as much as devotion, a fusion of body, mind, and spirit. But it is during Vesak that the soul of Wat Phra truly reveals itself. As twilight descends, the temple's courtyards transform into rivers of candlelight. Lay people and monks alike begin the Wayan Theon, a meditative procession in which devotees circle the main chapel 3 times, holding candles, incense, and lotus flowers. The flames flicker in the evening breeze, casting long shadows along the marble floors, dancing against murals that depict the life of Siddhartha Gautama, the prince who became the Buddha. These murals, faded by time but still richly expressive, become animated under the glow of firelight, as if they too are participating in the ritual. The soundscape of Vesak at Wat Phra is unique. Unlike the orchestrated chants of larger temples, here the atmosphere feels more intimate, more personal. You hear the soft shuffle of bare feet on stone, the subtle rustle of robes, the murmured prayers of elders. It is not silent, but profoundly quiet, a kind of acoustic reverence that seems to thicken the air. In this silence, the temple speaks. It speaks through the stories in its murals, through the wisdom carved into its stones, through the presence of generations who have come before to offer their prayers beneath the gaze of the reclining Buddha. There is no rush here. Devotees sit along corridors, some meditating, others simply observing. Children press lotus petals between their palms, mimicking their elders. Foreign visitors, initially drawn by the temple's fame, often find themselves stilled, their cameras forgotten, as they watch the candlelight flicker across gold surfaces and time-worn sculptures. In these moments, something ancient reaches out. Wat Phra does not seek to impress with grandeur, but to invite reflection. It is not a spectacle, but a dialogue between the present and the past, between the outer ritual and the inner awakening. For the Thai people, Wat Phra, during Vesak, is not just a place to mark a sacred date. It is a return to what endures amid the swirl of modern life. In a country of ever-expanding cityscapes and evolving traditions, Wat Phra stands as a reminder that some truths remain constant: compassion, mindfulness, impermanence. In this temple of reclining stone, the Buddha may lie still, but the spirit of his teachings continues to breathe. When the final candle burns low and the temple prepares to close its gates for the night, a certain stillness lingers, a sense that time itself has slowed. In that quiet, beneath ancient eaves and the gaze of a golden Buddha, you understand why Wat Phra is not merely a monument. It is a conversation across centuries. And during Vesak, It speaks to the part of us that longs not just to observe, but to understand. 3. Wat Arun, the Temple of Dawn in Vesak's glow. As the sun begins its descent behind the sprawl of Bangkok, painting the sky with strokes of orange, pink, and lavender, the silhouette of Wat Arun rises like a dream on the western bank of the Chao Phraya River, known as the Temple of Dawn. Wat Arun is paradoxically most hauntingly beautiful, not at sunrise, but in the tranquil, luminous hours of dusk. During Vesak, when the light softens and the sacred begins to emerge from shadow, from afar, Wat Arun appears like a stone lotus blooming against the sky, its central praying, an 80-meter spire encrusted with seashells and shards of Chinese porcelain, catches the last rays of light and glitters with a kind of celestial defiance. Up close, the details become dizzying: mythical beings, floral mosaics, and guardian demons look out from every corner, as if safeguarding the temple not just from intruders, but from the erosion of time itself. Yet, it is not the intricacy that stuns visitors during Vesak. It is the transformation. As the evening deepens, Wat Arun becomes a living altar of light. Devotees gather by boat, gliding silently across the darkening river, their lanterns reflecting in the water like drifting stars. The riverbank fills with locals and visitors alike, many dressed in white, clutching lotus blossoms and candles. The steps of the temple, usually steep and imposing, now appear softened by floral garlands and flickering lights. The scent of jasmine drifts through the air, mingling with incense smoke that curls upward in reverent spirals. The ceremony begins slowly, almost imperceptibly. A bell tolls. Monks in saffron robes move through the gathering crowd, their expressions calm, their chants low and resonant. The temple complex, usually alive with the sounds of the city, becomes cloaked in stillness. Even the river seems to pause. Then comes the Wian Thean procession. Hundreds circle the main praying with light in hand, forming a river of fire that winds its way through stone and spirit. From the opposite bank, the scene is breathtaking. Wat Arun glowing like a beacon, its reflection shimmering in the water below, as if the temple itself is afloat between two worlds. But beyond the spectacle lies the deeper rhythm of Wat Arun's Vesak. It is a place of profound symbolism, where every architectural line gestures toward spiritual ascent. The central tower represents Mount Meru, the mythical axis of the universe in Buddhist cosmology. Climbing its steep stairs, especially during Vesak, is more than a physical act. It is a metaphor for the journey toward enlightenment. For many, reaching the top is not merely about the panoramic view of Bangkok. It is about rising above the noise of the mundane. However briefly, to touch the silence of the sacred, there is a gravity to Wat Arun that transcends its beauty. Perhaps it is the temple's history, its origins stretching back to the Ayutthaya period, its survival through wars, floods, and reinventions. Or perhaps it is its placement on the Thonburi side of the river, once the capital's quieter twin, now a space where tradition resists erasure. During Vesak, this resistance becomes reverence. Children sit cross-legged at the feet of their elders, learning how to light a candle without haste, how to bow with sincerity, how to listen with the heart. Foreigners, often drawn by guidebook fame, find themselves swept into the rhythm of devotion. Eyes meet across language barriers. Hands offer candles without need for words. As the night deepens and the final chants fade into the river's quiet murmur, Wat Arun remains aglow. It does not need floodlights to shine. The radiance comes from within, from the flames of belief, from the patience of ritual, from the thousands who come not to marvel, but to remember. Remember a prince who sat beneath a Bodhi tree, Seeking truth. Remember a teaching that still pulses beneath city lights and cell phone towers. Remember that even in a world spinning faster every year, there are moments when time slows, and the soul finds its reflection in the calm of a river, in the curve of a lotus, in the quiet fire of a candle carried through the dark. To experience Vesak at Wat Phra is to witness something timeless, not a performance, not a spectacle, but a merging of earth, water, fire, and spirit. It is a dawn that unfolds in reverse, beginning at sunset and lasting long into the night, not just in the sky, but in the hearts of those who carry its light forward. 4. Wat Phra Kaew Doi Suthep, the temple above the clouds, high above the old city of Chiang Mai, where the winding roads disappear into pine-scented mist, and the air begins to whisper instead of speak, stands one of Thailand's most sacred sanctuaries. Wat Phra Kaew Doi Suthep, perched 1,073 meters above sea level, on the forested slopes of Doi Suthep mountain. The temple is as much a destination of the spirit as it is of the body, and during Vesak, it becomes something even more, an ethereal realm where devotion meets the sky. The journey begins at the base of the mountain. Pilgrims, many barefoot, some carrying candles and lotus flowers, gather in the stillness of twilight. They begin a slow, meditative walk up the mountain road, a tradition known as Walk to Doi Suthep, undertaken during Vesak to emulate the long journeys made by ancient disciples. For some, it's a few hours of quiet ascent. For others, it is an all-night trek lit by lanterns and moonlight. Along the way, the forest hums with cicadas. The stars overhead blink silently through the canopy. The further one climbs, the less the world below seems to matter. At the summit, Wat Phra Kaew Doi Suthep reveals itself like a hidden jewel in the mist. A naga staircase, flanked by twin serpents, whose green and gold bodies ripple up 309 stone steps, marks the final ascent to the temple platform. For those who make the climb, arriving at the top is a moment of quiet awe. The gates open onto a courtyard where bells chime softly in the breeze, and the golden chetty, glistening under the first light of dawn, rises like a flame caught mid-breath. The chetty, said to house a relic of the Buddha himself, is the heart of the temple. Its radiant spire is visible for miles, a symbol of faith piercing through fog and time. During Vesak, devotees walk clockwise around its base, 3 times in a candlelit procession. Each step is measured, intentional, each flame carried in silence. The air is thin, but charged with presence. Some visitors offer flowers, others kneel in prayer. Children cling to parents, their wide eyes reflecting flickers of candlelight as monks chant in slow, melodic syllables, ancient words echoing into the cold mountain air. The temple grounds, typically a site of constant motion and tourism, become during Vesak a sphere of serenity. Local hill tribe families, in traditional dress, offer blessings. Elderly monks sit beneath Bodhi trees, offering gentle teachings to anyone who approaches with a bowed head. The scent of burning sandalwood curls through the air. Prayer flags flutter above, each one carrying a wish into the sky. And beyond the temple's white balustrades, the valley below unfolds, Chiang Mai in miniature, flickering with distant lights, wrapped in the hush of a city that seems to pause in reverence. Wat Phra Kaew Doi Suthep is not a temple of grandeur in the way that Bangkok's Wat Phra or Wat Arun might dazzle. Its power lies not in scale, but in elevation, both literal and spiritual. To reach it requires effort. To experience it during Vesak is to participate in a ritual of ascent, one that mirrors the journey of the Buddha himself, leaving behind the noise of the world, stepping upward into the unknown. and finding stillness in clarity. It is this upward motion, not only of the body, but of the mind, that defines the temple's essence. And yet, amid the devotion and the solemnity, there are also moments of simplicity. A novice monk, no older than 10, gently lighting a lantern, a foreign traveler, unplanned, drawn in by the chanting and moved to tears, a woman sitting alone on a bench, hands clasped, eyes closed, not in meditation, but in silent thanks. In these unassuming moments, Wat Phra Kaew Doi Suthep becomes more than a monument. It becomes an experience, a quiet convergence of earth and sky, of memory and meaning. As dawn breaks fully and the first birds begin their songs, the mountain temple slowly returns to its everyday rhythm. But something has shifted. The footprints left by pilgrims will fade. The candles will burn down. The chants will drift into the trees. And yet, for those who made the journey, whether in body or in spirit, something endures. A stillness, a lightness, a feeling that, somewhere above the clouds, they touched something eternal. And in that fleeting moment, Vesak at Doi Suthep offered what all pilgrimages hope to deliver. Not just an arrival, but a transformation. 5. Wat Phra Kaew, the marble sanctuary of Bangkok, in a quieter quarter of Bangkok's Dusit district, where government buildings and royal residences lend the city a stately calm, stands a temple unlike any other in Thailand. Wat Phra Kaew, known to many as the Marble Temple, rises from its manicured grounds, not in a blaze of gold or a flourish of ancient stone, but in elegant white Carrara marble. Shipped from Italy in the early 20th century, it is a sanctuary born from a meeting of worlds, East and West, tradition and modernity, spirituality and symmetry, built during the reign of King Chulalongkorn, Rama V. Wat Phra Kaew was envisioned as part of a modernization effort that did not seek to westernize Buddhism, but to refine its image for a changing world. The result is an architectural marvel. Its clean lines and symmetrical courtyards echo European neoclassicism, yet its heart pulses with unmistakable Thai spirit. With its multi-tiered roof, sweeping gables, and golden chofas, the finials shaped like bird beaks at the rooftop edges, it is, above all, a place of balance. Every line seems considered, every corner composed. During Vesak, this balance is magnified. While many temples across the country draw massive crowds in celebration, Wat Phra Kaew offers something quieter, more contemplative. It does not roar with the energy of a mass procession, nor does it compete with the towering splendor of Bangkok's larger shrines. Instead, it hums with an inner resonance, a stillness that invites those who enter to shed the weight of the world and step into a space of quiet reverence. In the early hours of Vesak morning, monks begin their alms round along the tree-lined avenues surrounding the temple. The light is soft, the air still tinged with the coolness of night. Lay people wait in silence, holding offerings of rice and fruit wrapped in lotus leaves. There is no fanfare, only the gentle rhythm of bare feet against stone and the murmured blessings exchanged between giver and receiver. This daily ritual, unchanged for centuries, sets the tone for the day. Humble, present, deeply human. Inside the main ordination hall, the Ubosat, a single bronze Buddha image, sits in lotus posture. It is Phra Buddha Chinarat, a copy of the famed image from Phitsanulok, cast with striking realism and set against a shimmering gold backdrop. Before it, on this day, candles flicker gently, flowers are arranged with care. Visitors bow 3 times, their foreheads touching the floor, not in performance, but in quiet surrender. For many, The hall's symmetry and simplicity create a sanctuary for inner reflection. The high ceilings, polished marble floors, and rhythmic echo of chants make it feel not unlike a cathedral, yet distinctly Thai in spirit. Throughout Vesak, Wat Phra becomes a haven for individual seekers, while other temples host elaborate public ceremonies. Here one finds solo meditators beneath the Bodhi trees, children sitting cross-legged beside parents in silent prayer, foreign visitors who linger longer than expected, not because of obligation, but because the space invites them to stay. The temple grounds include a cloister lined with 52 Buddha images, each representing a different posture and story from the Buddha's life. During Vesak, pilgrims walk slowly from statue to statue, pausing to read inscriptions, to contemplate the many forms of awakening. It is a walking meditation in marble, an exploration of transformation, etched not only in stone, but in the soul. Yet what makes Wat Phra particularly poignant during Vesak is not only its structure, but its symbolism. The temple was born at a time when Thailand was charting a course between preserving its heritage and engaging with a globalizing world. That tension, that harmony, is embedded in every corner of the temple. The Italian marble does not overshadow the Thai craftsmanship. It enhances it. The Western symmetry does not diminish the spiritual warmth. It clarifies it. In this sense, Wat Phra reflects a Vesak that is both ancient and modern. It honors the Buddha's life and teachings while acknowledging the evolving shape of contemporary spirituality. As twilight falls, the temple's white facade takes on a gentle amber hue. Lanterns are lit along the perimeter of the courtyard, their reflections dancing softly on the marble. A group of monks gathers for evening chanting, their voices rising and falling like waves. The chants are not loud, but their rhythm fills the air with something unspoken, something that seems to rise from the stone itself. Nearby, a lone visitor kneels in the fading light, holding a lotus blossom, her eyes closed. In that moment, time seems to slow. The city beyond the gates fades into quiet, and the temple, refined, radiant, and still, becomes what it was always meant to be. Not just a place of worship, but a vessel for presence. Vesak at Wat Phra is not about scale or spectacle. It is about intimacy. It is about listening, truly listening, to the silence between chants, to the stillness beneath one's own thoughts, to the timeless voice of a teacher who spoke of suffering, of compassion, of the path beyond both. In this marble sanctuary, Vesak is not only remembered, it is distilled, softened, and offered back to the world in its simplest form. A quiet invitation to return to what matters, temples of light in a changing world. As the final chants of Vesak fade into the night, and the last of the candlelight is swallowed by the stars, Thailand's temples remain, anchored in stillness, luminous against the dark. In a nation where modernity rushes forward with glass towers and electric speed, these sacred spaces stand unmoved. They are not relics of the past, but living structures of resilience and reflection. Whether built from ancient stone, adorned in gold leaf, or carved from imported marble, they each radiate with the same quiet power, the power to remind, to center, and to awaken. Across the 5 temples, from the futuristic expanse of Wat Phra Kaew to the mist-veiled serenity of Doi Suthep, what emerges is not just architectural splendor or ceremonial pageantry. It is the enduring presence of light, both literal and symbolic. In each temple, Vesak is not simply observed, it is embodied. The rituals are not performances, but invitations to listen, to feel, to remember. These temples do not just celebrate the Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and passing. They hold those truths in their very foundations. waiting to be rediscovered by each generation. In Bangkok, the reclining Buddha of Wat Phra rests not in slumber, but in knowing, a calm presence in the heart of a city forever on the move. At Wat Arun, the Temple of Dawn does not simply greet the sunrise, it absorbs twilight, reminding us that even in fading light, beauty endures. Wat Bencham Abofit, the marble temple, stands as a quiet bridge between worlds, where ancient teachings meet architectural grace, and far above, Wat Phra Kaew Doi Suthep invites the weary and the hopeful to climb, not just a mountain, but towards something sacred within themselves. To walk among these temples during Vesak is to trace a path carved by centuries of devotion. It is to join a procession that began long before the digital age, long before borders and airplanes, and continues in a timeless rhythm. One does not need to be Buddhist to feel it. The language of incense, of silence, of shared intention, these are universal. They speak to something primal, something human, in a world increasingly fractured by noise and division. The temples offer a different kind of connection, one built not on opinion, but on presence. Yet these temples are not immune to change, climate, development, tourism, and even the passing of generations shape their future. But within their walls, the essence remains. The marble may crack, the murals may fade, but the spirit, the invitation to pause, to breathe, to see, endures. Vesak, too, is changing. Its ceremonies are now streamed online, its teachings translated into dozens of languages. What was once passed down orally is now shared in podcasts, apps, and global meditation live streams. And yet, the heartbeat of Vesak has not changed. It remains a moment each year when the world slows and light is passed from one hand to another in quiet reverence. There is something deeply humbling about standing in a candlelit temple courtyard, surrounded by strangers who aren't strangers at all. For a few hours, you are united, not by name, language, or nationality, but by the shared experience of wonder and longing, the longing for peace, for clarity, for something beyond the temporary. In these moments, the temples are more than buildings. They are mirrors. They reflect not only the teachings of a man who lived 500 years ago, but the questions we still carry. What does it mean to live well? To suffer with grace? To wake up? As Thailand continues to evolve, its temples remain guardians of that deeper wisdom. They are not static monuments, but sanctuaries of light, light that flickers, yes, but never dies. In the quiet glow of Vesak, beneath banyan trees and marble roofs, by riverbanks and mountain tops, they continue to shine, and in their light, we are reminded of our own, that even in a changing world, the path to stillness, to compassion, and to truth is never far away. It is there, waiting, just beyond the incense smoke, just behind the silence, just beneath the surface of things.